Hello, my dear students. Welcome to Teacher at Home. Today, class, we are going to learn the seventh chapter, Reaching the Age of Adolescence. In the previous chapter, you have learned how animals reproduce. It is only after growing up to a certain age, human beings and many other animals can reproduce. Why can humans reproduce only after a certain age? In this chapter, you will learn about the changes that take place in the human body, after which a person becomes capable of reproduction. Chapter 6, you have learned about human reproductive organs. Here we shall discuss the role that hormones play in bringing about the changes that make a child grow into an adult. Adolescence and puberty. Bojo was celebrating his 12th birthday. After his friends left, Bojo and Paheli began chatting with their parents. Paheli studies in an all-girls school. She started laughing. She remarked that many of Bojo's school friends, whom she met after a year, had suddenly shot up in height. Some of them were looking very funny with a hairy line above their lips. Her mother explained that the boys had grown up. Growth begins from the day one is born. But upon crossing the age of 10 or 11, there is a sudden spurt in growth which become noticeable. The changes taking place in the body, a part of growing up, they indicate that you are no longer a child but are on the way to becoming an adult. I wonder how long this period marked by changes in the body will last. It's a strange period of life when you are neither a child nor an adult. I wonder whether this period between childhood and adulthood had a special name. Growing up is a natural process. The period of life where the body undergoes changes leading to reproductive maturity is called adolescence. Adolescence begins around the age of 11 and lasts up to 18 or 19 years of age. Since the period covers the teens, adolescents are also called teenagers. In girls, adolescence may begin a year or two earlier than in boys. Also, the period of adolescence varies from person to person. Human body undergo several changes during the adolescence. These changes mark the onset of puberty. The most important change which marks puberty is that boys and girls become capable of reproduction. Puberty ends when an adolescent reaches reproductive maturity. Paheli and Bojo realized that sudden increase in height and hairy line above the lips in boys were signs of adolescence. They wanted to know more about other changes at puberty. Changes at puberty. Increase in height. Most conspicuous during changes at puberty. Increase in height. The most conspicuous change during the puberty is the sudden increase in height. At this time, the long bones, that is, the bones of the arms and the legs elongate and make a person tall. Following chart gives the average rate of growth in the height of the boys and girls with age. The figures in column 2 and 3 give the percentage of the height a person has reached at the age given in column 1. For example, by the age 11, a boy has reached 81% of his probable full height, while a girl has reached 88% of her full height. These figures are only representative and there may be individual variations. Use the table for your friends and work out how tall they are likely to be. Find out who is likely to be the tallest and who might be the shortest in your class. Age in years. 8. Percentage of full height for boys is 72%, girls 77%. 9. 75, 81 for girls. 10. 78 for boys, 84 for girls. 11. 81 for boys, 88 for girls. 12. 84 for boys, 91 for girls. 13. 88 for boys and 95 for girls. 14. 92 for boys, 98 for girls. 15. 95 for boys, 99 for girls. 16. 98 for boys and 99.5 for girls. 17. 99% for boys, 100% for girls. 18. 100% for boys and 100% for girls. Calculation full height. Percent in height by centimeter by percentage of full height at its age as given in the chart into 100. അപ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ ഹൈറ്റ് ബൈ എത്ര ഹൈറ്റ് ആണോ വേണ്ടത് ഇൻറ്റു 100. Example, a boy is 9 years old and 120 centimeter tall. At the end of the growth period, he is likely to be 120 by 75 into 100. That's equal to 160 centimeter tall. Using the data given in activity 7.1 to draw a graph, take age on the x-axis and percent growth in the height on the y-axis. Highlight the point presenting your age on the graph. Find out the percentage of height you have already reached. Calculate the height you might eventually reach. Tally your graph with the one given here. Initially, the girls grow faster than boys, but by about 18 years of age, both reach their maximum height. The rate of growth in height varies in different individuals. Some may grow suddenly at puberty and then slow down, while others may grow gradually. I am worried, though I have become taller, my face looks much smaller compared to my body. There is no need for Paheli to worry. All parts of the body do not grow at the same time. Sometimes the arms and the legs or hands and feet of adolescents look oversized and out of proportion with the body. But sooner the other parts catch up, result in a proportionate body. You must have noticed that similar height of an individual is more or less similar to that of some family member. This is because height depends on the genes inherited from parents. It is, however, very important to eat the right kind of food during the growing years. This helps the bones, muscles, and other parts of the body get adequate nourishment for growth. You will find nutritional needs of adolescents discussed later in the lesson. Change in body shape. Have you noticed that boys in your class have broader shoulders and wider chests than boys in junior classes? This is because they have entered the age of puberty, when shoulders generally broaden as a result of growth. In girls, the region below the waist becomes wider. Boys, muscles of the body grow more prominently than in the girls. Thus, changes occurring in adolescent boys and girls are different. Voice change. Did you notice that sometimes the voice of some of the boys in your class cracks? At puberty, voice box or the larynx begins to grow. Boys develop larger voice boxes. The growing voice box in boys can be seen as a protruding part of the throat called Adam's apple. In girls, the larynx is hardly visible from the outside because of its small size. Generally, girls have a high-pitched voice, whereas boys have a deeper voice. In adolescent boys, sometimes the muscles of the growing voice box go out of the control and the voice becomes a hoarse. This state may remain for a few days or weeks, after which the voice becomes normal. Adam's apple in a grown-up boy. Increased activity of sweat and sebaceous gland. During puberty, the secretion of sweat glands and sebaceous glands, oil glands, increases. Many young people get acne and pimples on the face at that time because of the increased activity of these glands in the skin. A few glands, such as sweat glands, oil glands, and salivary glands, release their secretions through ducts. Endocrine glands release hormones directly into the bloodstream, so they are also termed ductal glands. Development of sex organs. Look up of the previous lesson, which show sex organs of humans. At puberty, male sex organs like the testes and penis develop completely. Testes also begin to produce sperms. In girls, the ovaries enlarge and eggs begin to mature. Also, ovaries start releasing mature eggs. Reaching mental, intellectual, and emotional maturity. Adolescence is also a period of change in a person's way of thinking. Adolescents are more independent than before and also self-conscious. Intellectual development take place and they tend to spend considerable time thinking. In fact, it is often the time in one's life where the brain has the greatest capacity for learning. Sometimes, however, an adolescent may feel insecure while trying to adjust to changes in the body and mind. But an adolescent learners, you should know that there is no reason to feel insecure. These changes are a natural part of growing up. Secondary sexual characters. You have learned in chapter 6 that testes and ovaries are the reproductive organs. They produce the gametes, that is, sperms and ova. In girls, breasts begin to develop at puberty, and boys begin to grow facial hair, that is, mustache and beard. As these features help to distinguish the male and the female, they are called secondary sexual characters. Boys also develop hair on the chest. In both boys and girls, hair grows under the arms and the region above the thighs or the pubic region. Pojo and Paheli wish to know what initiate changes at puberty. Changes which occur at adolescence are controlled by hormones. Hormones are chemical substances. These are secretions from endocrine glands or endocrine system. The male hormone, testosterone, begins to be released by the testes on the onset of puberty. This causes changes in boys about which you have just learned. For example, the growth of the facial hair. Once puberty is reached in girls, ovaries begin to produce the female hormone or estrogen, which make the breast develop. Milk secreting glands or mammary glands develop inside the breast. The production of these hormones is under the control of another hormone secreted from an endocrine gland called the pituitary gland. Role of hormones in initiating reproductive function. Endocrine glands release hormones into the bloodstream to reach a particular body part called the target site. Target site respond to the hormone. There are many endocrine glands or ocular glands in the body. Testes and ovaries secrete sex hormones. We have just learned that these hormones are responsible for the male and the female secondary sexual characters. Further, sex hormones are under the control of hormones from the pituitary gland. Pituitary secretes many hormones, one of which makes ova mature in the ovaries and sperms form in the testes. Hormones from primary stimulate testes and ovaries to release testosterone and estrogen, released in the bloodstream and reach parts of the body. Stimulate changes in the body at onset of puberty. Paheli and Bojo have now understood that puberty marks the beginning of the reproductive period when one becomes capable of reproduction. But they want to know if reproductive life once begun continue or ends sometime. So that's all about this first part. The next part we can see in the part 2. So if you are interested, please do like, share and subscribe my channel. Okay, thank you.